Was I wrong about the night? Was I wrong about the night the whole time? Have I fallen for the second red herring intentionally set before me by Tobias the Hound? Perhaps I have. Perhaps I have done this. All by overlooking two important characters. Overlooking the soul, a character with its own story. And by overlooking Asriel, the quiet boy. It seems like overlooking important pieces of this puzzle has put me on a narrow-minded view on how this story will take place. The theories I presented before are still very likely to be true. But a missing piece can change everything, and it's time to talk about some pieces I've missed. I would highly recommend watching my theory how Delta works before watching this one. It is required viewing to understand this one. In that video, I discussed how the character of the Red Soul is just as distinct from us as Chris and Frisk are, like a second child we need to pay just as much attention to. I discussed the possibility of how Des could be human, be this heart which is with us in the dark. But the way I explained that theory was slightly complicated. I explained it in the sense of the soul splitting from the body and becoming a different character, where the body goes to Gaster and the soul goes to the player. Admittedly, this could be a huge part of the story even if the alternative I present is true. I reimagined the roaring Delta, yet again, as Gaster's command, Friend's influence, and the bodies of Chara and Des. I reimagined the hopeful Delta as the player's command, Frisk, and Chris's body, and Chara and Des's soul. But, I also knew Flowey had a role to play in this. Flowey was a body of some kind in this situation, given his power over save files and devil imagery. That would likely put him in Gaster's Delta. Well, I started to think. I might have been overthinking this. Chara is called a demon associated with game statistics, but Chara only calls themselves demon in the genocide route. When Chara awakens and fully embraces the identity of demon. They were still a flawed character in their past, just as any image bearer would be, but they don't become demon until we, as Chara's father figure, set them on that path ourselves. They are still the future of humans and monsters, still our influence over save files. They are immensely determined. So let's consider the idea that I was wrong about soul-body splitting, and Flowey was the one playing the role of Gaster's body, possibly unknowingly. This means I would be wrong in Deltarune as well, and someone else is Gaster's body. But I think I realized where my mistake was, starting this process of theorization by assuming Des was a monster, thinking she can't be the human soul. And these were also some of my thoughts. The knight being an Antichrist parallel, I assumed the knight would be the rebellious child, the one who had strict parents and wanted to lash out against the world. But it seems Des was good enough at hiding her rebellious traits from her parents, getting away with stuff Noelle probably wouldn't. Des had a whole rock band which used violent imagery in their songs, she smoked weed, beat up Chris with a bat. Des had freedom to do whatever she wanted with her life. And, just like a parent does not cast their children out of their house for disobedience, a believer is not kicked out of the faith for sin. Sometimes they might be kicked out of a church assembly for something really bad, the biblical example being something I'll only give to someone that asks cause it was really bad. But they don't get kicked out of church for weed or anything like that. I assumed the rebellious teen with weird strict parents would rebel enough to cause the roaring, but one who was getting away with what she got away with probably wouldn't need to lash out as much as the knight does. Still, though, I do think Des was the one led through the forest by Friend. But instead of that being how Gaster got his vessel, I think that could be how he got the soul he gave to us. Raise Up Your Bat seems like a song about fighting the night by following the light inside your heart. It's just a macabre one someone more sensitive may want to censor. But writing macabre lyrics is not a sin in and of itself, it honestly sounds like something I would write. But then I think, who would lash out? Who would have enough repressed emotion to do something as bad as playing God and covering the world in darkness? The golden boy burdened with expectations. Consider the following, the three prophetic families to the north of Deltarunes town. The Dreamas, the Holidays, and the Kattenheimers. The Dreamas bear goat horns, and the Holidays bear cross-shaped antlers. The family of the horns, and the family of the cross. This is not a means to say every member of the Dreamas is demon, every member of the Holidays is angels. Take the Kattenheimers, the yellow and pink cats. Every member has the color yellow or pink somewhere in their art style, much like the Tale of Hell device friend. But only Catty was associated with the demonic, the rest of the Kattenheimers are churchgoers and bone-crushing feminists. It's more like to say that these are the families of the two. Noel's family is the family of the angel, the Dreamurhaus is the family of the devil, and the Kattenheimers is the family which has some relation to Device Friend. Maybe Device Friend is a digital pet in the Cat Petters game. Asriel, when he was a kid, was the choir boy, he fed the animals, he won 1,000 trophies and awards. He cried about sins committed in video games as if they were real. He did get in trouble for kissing the alligator lady, and I originally thought that was weird in the chapter 1 days cause I thought the alligator lady was like 30, but the alligator lady probably is Asriel's age. He felt like he had to live up to a certain hard-to-reach standard, thought he always had to smile, even when he didn't feel like smiling. Maybe Ralsei is based on Asriel, maybe Ralsei is who Asriel used to be. Now Asriel is someone else, lashing out after being burdened by a multitude of expectations. Asriel wanted to cry, but he was always mocked for doing so. A little crybaby, who cries before fighting you in chapter 3. Ralsei, on the other hand, was allowed to cry if he wanted to. We tell Ralsei it's okay not to smile, something the God of Bible told the prophets all the time. But I do think this is, yet another case of Toby Fox wanting us to think the knight is someone else. Chris was an intentional red herring, it's possible Des is as well. Now, I noticed the goat-shaped horns earlier than a lot of people. I thought it was just to emphasize the Antichrist parallels, but there could be an in-universe reason for it as well. The knight wields a bat, but there was a scrapped item in Undertale called Asriel's bat. The knight uses ice magic, but also, anyone can use ice magic. It just comes naturally to the Holidays. The Black Nymph has the lost girl motif, but also the burn in despair motif. The knight has the deer antlers, but also wears a helmet according to Chris's thoughts. And just like how Chris tries to think about something else if we try to learn about the knight, Chris closes their eyes when entering Asriel's cyberworld room. Now, I do think the knight's resemblance to Des is a little more than just red herring material. I think the knight is Asriel trying to be like Des, trying to be like the free soul he saw Des as when he was younger. The fun-loving girl who still had the same faith, but felt free to express herself more than Asriel did. Ralsei doesn't know what being Ralsei-like even is, and perhaps Asriel does not know what being Asriel-like is. So Asriel, in the end, does not become Asriel-like. Asriel becomes Gaster-like. How Gaster got control over Asriel would have to be talked about later, but of course, there are multiple children led into the forest. Oh no! The poor children! All of this being said, I'm still not fully convinced of all this. We could still get the theory I had before where Des's body is the knight. It's all kind of up for debate right now until chapter 5. Even still, Des' soul theory makes the relationship between Soul and Chris way more interesting.